Okay, so these are basic computer skills that you need to know in order to use my website, but they'll help you everywhere too. And so I'm going to be using this sheet here, which was hopefully downloaded to your computer when you clicked the link that was for computer skills. But if it wasn't, then look in the description of this video down low, and you should be able to download the sheet. Print it up, and then you'll be able to refer to this while we're going through this demonstration. First off, how to take a screenshot. Well, if it's on a Mac, it would be Command-Shift-3. I wrote Control, oops. But on a PC, it is Control-Alt-Print Screen. So let's see how that's done. So I am looking at my screen here, and I type Control-Alt-Print Screen. Bing. But you didn't see anything, did you? Nothing appeared to happen. But it did happen. It was saved onto your clipboard. And so what you want to do is you want to go to your Paint, MS Paint program, and just type Control-V, and there you can see your screenshot. Once you're there, you can do things like resize it, or hit Control-A to select it all and move it, and then resize it again. Get just the area that you want by dragging these side points. Okay? So that's how, and then you will save it as to save it. But we don't need to do that. All right, so the next thing we need to learn how to do is how to copy paste. Obviously, this is really simple. Command-C or Command-V. So, you know, if I'm on a, let's see, where are we? There we go. So if I'm up here and I want to Control-C, then I can hit Control-V all day long. Let's see, after that we want to go to So the next thing we need to learn how to do is copy paste. So if I highlight something, I hit Control-C, or on a Mac Command-C, and then paste it over and over and over. And you can do this ad infinitum, and it'll paste anything. Next up, after copy paste, how to resize a text area. All right, so this is on our website. So if we go to a culture assignment, for example. Oh wait, I cannot teach you that yet because we have a little problem here in Chrome, and that is that when I click these links, we get a pop-ups blocked here up in the top right corner. So you may need to fix that and put the button on Always Allow Pop-ups. Done. Okay, so now I should be able to click these links and it will give a pop-up to a culture assignment. All right, so how do you resize a text area? All these dark areas are text areas. And some of them have, if you look very closely and zoom in, some of them have nothing in the right corner here, but some of them do have something in the right corner. If I can see, these have nothing, but if I go farther down, then we can see that like the wide ones have something. I don't know if you can see that, but I can drag this and grow it. And so that's how you resize a text area. And if the text area is inside a chart, you can still resize it. That's one way to get rid of the bars. All right, next up. The next thing we need to do is how to zoom in and out. Well, I already did that. Here on the easiest way is to push Control plus the roller ball. That'll zoom in and out and in and out. On a Mac, it would be Command plus or Command minus. Now you could use the roller ball on a Mac, but you can see that there's a whole big thing that you have to do where you select system preferences and all that. So figure that out for yourself. Another way is on a PC is Windows plus and minus. That'll zoom in a whole 100% at once, which is like not that cool. But it will also zoom into the place that you highlight, which is nice. Okay, next up. We want to resize a text area. All right, so Okay, no. Next up is dangerous ways to accidentally kill a tab. Now you don't want to push any of these. Control W, Control R, Control H, Control Q, Control left, and Control right. Now some of them might forgive you. For instance, if I typed hey guy into the blank here, and then go to another website, cnn.com, and then I go back, push the back button, hey guy is still there. So Control left and Control right might not kill you, but it might. So the standard thing is Control W will destroy a tab. You can see my tab disappeared. Control R is the same as pushing this reload button here. So if I type Control R, boom, it's gone and you can't get it back. So how do you get out of this? Okay, so the next thing we need to know is what not to do. So if I've been working on an assignment here and I typed hey guy here, and then I accidentally hit any of these keystrokes here, Control W, Control R, H, Q, Control Alt left or Alt right, or Command on any of those over in a Mac, over on that side, then I'm going to lose what I typed here. And you don't want to do any of this, so you got to be careful. You might want to stop and imagine yourself pushing each of these things on the keyboard and feel how it feels and remind yourself not to do that. Because if I hit, for instance, Control R, okay, so let me try this. So I've got hey guy written here. Now if I, for instance, hit Control R, okay, so the next thing you want to do is figure out what buttons not to push. So I have written all of them here on a Mac. Command on a PC, it's pretty much Control W, R, Command H over here, but anything with F4 or F5, and then also Alt left or Alt right to go forward and back. All these things will cause you to lose what you have typed out. So right here I've typed out hey guy, and if I type Control R, well, that's going to be just like hitting the reload button up here. So I'll do that. Control R, bam, it's gone. Okay, you don't want to do that. Other things you don't want to do is like Control Alt right. That'll take you to a different thing. Now Alt right will actually be forgiven, because if I do Alt left and go back, you can see it's still there. But if I had gone Alt back first, and then, you know, it might not have worked. Other things, if I hit Control W, I'll go to a different tab here. If I hit Control W, watch what happens. Bam, the whole tab disappeared if you saw it up here. So all these things are dangerous, and you don't want to do them. So you might want to stop the video and go through the list and put your fingers on the keyboard in that configuration, on Control and W and Control and R, and make a mental note to yourself that this is not what you want to do. Another thing you can do to avoid this is hit the print save button right here. Now this won't save the things in the blanks. So this would just be to prove to your teacher, hey, I did half of it, before it destroyed the rest. The third thing we want to know how to do on a Mac is type macrons, and this relates to this because normally on this website, all throughout the writelatin.org website, it's Control A, Control I to type all these macrons, but you can't do Control E. Why? Because E is in between W and R, and if you remember from your list here, Control W and R will cause you to lose everything. So if you were aiming for E and you missed and accidentally hit Control W instead, you would lose all your stuff. So I don't want to permit that danger, so I have moved macron to E to instead be Control semicolon. So I'll do that right now, Control semicolon. You know, on your keyboard, you look down there, it goes JKL semicolon. And so do that. As for capitals, you just add Shift to the Control. Control Shift A, Control Shift semicolon, Control Shift I, Control Shift I, Control Shift O, Control Shift U, Control Shift Y. Okay, so that's how you do macrons on a Mac. We jumped ahead to the back side of the sheet there. But let's go back to our normal thing. Okay, how do you find a word on a page? Well, the standard way is you type Control F, or on a Mac, Command F. And I'm looking for the word caecilius. Let's do, yeah, caecilius. So I do that, and bingo, it found, I can push the down button to get to it, but it found caecilius there. Now, if there were multiple things, like I want to find the word the, then I can push the, I can push the down arrow to go to each one, or I can just, on a PC, type Control Z to keep going through each one. Control G, I'm sorry. Control G. On a Mac, it would be Command F and Command G. Fine. Okay. Next up, how do you select everything on the page? Like, suppose... Okay, so next up we need to learn how to type define. So I'm going to do Control F. Uh-oh, what did I just do? I have no idea. Okay, so next thing we need to learn how to do is how to find things on a page. So what you do is you type Control F, and I'm going to search for the word the, and then I could push down arrow up here to go to the next one, but an easier thing is just Control G, and that will find all the forms of the on the page. On a Mac, it would be Command F, and Command G. Next up, how do I select everything on a page? So suppose I want to copy this whole page into Microsoft Word. It's always Command or Control or Command A. Then you can do Control C to copy it all. And then you can go to your Microsoft Word and do Control V to paste the whole thing. You can see that it did indeed paste it all. Not in a very nice way, but it got it all there. Okay, so you don't want to do this normally, but that might be some way to, save something fast. All right, next up, how do you undo or redo the last typed thing? Well, I was just here in Word. I can undo it by typing Control Z. It's gone. And now we've got our ASDF again. And then I can redo it by typing Control Y. On a Mac, of course, I think it would be Command Z and Command Y. All right, so that's there. Now we're on the back side. Skills to use on my website. How do you get more information if you don't understand how a particular widget or link works on the website? What it's gonna do if I click it? How do you deal with that? Okay, so what you do, the first thing you should always do is that you should hover over the item. So when you hover over an item, you can see down here no, you can't see that one. You can see down here way at the bottom, I got a pop-up. It popped up. So, up here, here's another pop-up. So there's all this information that's available to you if you just hover over things. The next thing you would probably want to do if you don't get a hover message is go to my abbreviations resource. So especially if it's a grammatical thing, you just go over here to abbreviations, and now you can type Control F to search for the thing you don't know, like the word declension. Then Control G and go through finding stuff like that. The last thing you would want to do if you don't know how to do something on my website is you would want to just go to YouTube or Google. Google the question on YouTube or Google, and they will teach you pretty much how to do anything in the Latin language or on a computer. All right, so take control over yourself, and when you don't know something, don't complain, I don't know how to do stuff. Go find out. All right, we already did. Next was how to type macrons. So we'll skip that. Next up is how do you recover from a crash? All right, so the obvious, now you might lose your work, that's for sure, but if the page crashes here and things aren't working at all, the first thing you always want to do is reload the page. So just type Control R, Command R, or hit the reload button right there. And that should hopefully make the page work again. If it's still not working, if things are still not working, then this is a little bit more technical. And you might then, to tell me information, the programmer, about what went wrong, I'm going to ask you to tell me what error messages did you get. Now, how do you figure out error messages? Well, you just follow your worksheet here. It says you right click. Okay, so I'll right click and select inspect. Oh, and by the way, this is also how you can do things like inspect images, like hover over the image and right click inspect it. And it will take you to this thing on the panel on the right called the developers tools or dev tools. Now, it took me, highlighted the line of that image so I can see that image. And I could even like do things like click on it and go look at it in another tab and things like open in a new tab. But I'm not going to do that. And because you don't need any of that. That's just for programming and neat stuff. What I want you to do is go to the console tab at the top, and then you would come here and actually I'm going to do that over here, console tab, and then you can see that any errors will be yellow or red like that. And if you can't read them, if it's too small, you can undock it into a whole new window like that. That will make it really big and such. So, well, maybe you can't see that. Okay, never mind, you couldn't see that. All right, so that's what you do with the developers tools. You do it just like that. Yeah. All right, get rid of developers tools. So you could look at that and say, Mr. Rudman, I got an error message that said warning, couldn't load resource, got a 404 message, couldn't load resources, settings.php, couldn't find that resource. All right, and so that's why my page isn't working. Next up, how do you enlarge images? Okay, so there are many ways to enlarge an image on our website. One way is just to hover over it. See that? A lot of times I make an image bigger just by hovering over it. A second way you can enlarge an image is to actually click on it. Well, these you can't click, but the same thing as sometimes some of the images you can. Another thing you can select is open image in new tab, and now you can use your zoom, which is, remember, control roller ball to zoom in, or command plus, command minus. So that's the second way that you can zoom in and out. A third way you can zoom in and out is from the triple dot button. This will make it zoom in and out a little bit. And then under settings, if you're finding like you're always having to zoom into 150%, then I recommend you go into page zoom and just set it to 150% so that it will always be that way. Get out of the settings, and then you can just be happy with always being in 150% zoom mode. Okay, next up. So we right-clicked on it, we hovered over it, we can click on it. The other thing is some of images, you can grab the lower right corner if the image is inside of a chart. So, like, I don't know if I'm going to get lucky and find an image inside a chart. No, I didn't. But if there was like an image inside of this chart here where it says add a thermopolium, by dragging that, it would make the image bigger. Okay, next up, how do you find a glossary word that is out of place? Okay, so suppose I'm doing this, well, let's do a different one. So let's do reading A. So suppose I'm going through this worksheet and I come to the word on. No, let's not do that. Let's do the word R. So I get to this point right here in the worksheet, and I say, okay, I don't know what the word R is. So I go look it up down low, and it should be right here in between oh, well, it is right here. Okay, let's do a different one. So suppose I come to this worksheet and I'm looking for the word Okay, so suppose I'm doing this worksheet and I'm looking for the word on there. And I come down to my, I don't know the word on, so I come down to my glossary and it should be right here in between not and queen, you know, N-O-P-Q. But it's not there. What do I do? Well, you go look for, you scan the bold words. So R, power, big, on. Oh, there it is. So if you don't see your word where it should be alphabetically, scan the big, fat, bold words, and maybe the word you're looking for will be somewhere else in the glossary. Next up, how do I move from blank to blank throughout the assignment? Well, there are two ways. One is tab, and then you can go back with shift tab. So tab and shift tab will get you all over everywhere. And then the other nice thing is you can just type spacebar. Oh, this is interesting. You see how I got make around I and I didn't intend that? It sometimes does that. That's probably because your control button is stuck. So if you tap your control button, or in a case of a Mac, command, control button several times, you tap your, then type it out and it'll work. So that's just one thing you can know to how to fix that little glitch. That's a problem with Chrome. I can't fix that. Okay, next up. So we've got. So next up is skills for managing YouTube. So what am I going to? How do you manage videos on YouTube? Well,
formation, which each checker been granted from time immemorial when they had been absorbed into the Republic. However, the effect of the greed of the senators was encroaching upon these lands.
Okay, so next up is how do I manage YouTube videos? So suppose I'm watching this video. Okay, so next up is how do you manage YouTube videos? Because you might be watching a video for an assignment like this one, and it's moving way too fast, and you missed something and need to see something again. So the basic way you manage it is put your fingers, 3 fingers, on J, K, L on the assignment. Now K will pause and play the video, so I'm pushing K, and you can see every time I push K, it moves, or I can stop it. J will go back 10 seconds, so I'll rewind it, and it went back to the previous screen. And then you can see that when I push K, it starts playing again. And then if I want to jump forward 10 seconds, I use L. So J and L can go forward 10 seconds. Now, if you want finer control than that, then right arrow and left arrow. You see how when I push left arrow, it goes back 5 seconds every time? Whereas with right arrow, it'll go forward 5 seconds every time. So that that's how you get around. So you've got J and L and left and right. And then K will stop the video. Other things you need to know to do YouTube videos is this gear down here is where you can change the speed to make it go like 25% so that it is barely moving. We're barely moving. Or you can go up to something fast if it's stuff that you've already heard before. I usually set it on 1.5% to start, cruising through, or you could even go up to 2. If you really want control over speed, there's a plugin that you can get by Googling YouTube speed controller or video speed controller. and that will enable you to use program keys to go like at 0.1 or like a 10 down all the way down to, that will allow you to program keys to go all the way down to 0.1 or all the way up to like 8 super fast. Alrighty, so what else do we need to how to do? Another way to pause the video is spacebar, and that'll restart it. Spacebar. How do you change the resolution? Okay, so if it's looking like this, which is all blurry, so if the video is looking like this and it's all blurry, that's because you need to change the resolution. I would make it as high as it can go, 720. But if you have a slow internet connection, it might start stopping and thinking in the middle of this, and it will get jerky and annoying. And that means that your internet connection is too slow to handle it. So you probably want to go to something lower like 480 or 360, which is pretty good. I mean, you can pretty much see it pretty well just on 480 like this. Anything else? No, that's it. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about YouTube videos. You can also sometimes use this gear to get closed caption translations of what is going on. Alrighty, so these are the basic skills that you need to know for using my website, and I hope you learned a lot from them. At a certain point, I may add a test for this. So make sure you learn this stuff, and that not just learn it, but you can use it. So practice each of the things in this list and make sure you're good and can do it instantly without even thinking about it. So, all right, have a good day. Bye.